Kristen.
And I'm Jennifer.
And this is episode 3 of the Mississippi True Crime Podcast Show.
And today we're going to be talking about Dr. David Stephens from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. In Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Dr. David Stephens was well known as a respected and pioneering heart surgeon. When he died, a tragic event rocked his community.
After people found out that he was murdered, more of the truth came out. So let's start at the beginning of the story.
Dr. Stephens was the chief of surgery at Hattiesburg's Forest General Hospital. He was on the board there, and Stephanie Tate had started working there. Soon after, they started to have an affair.
Their affair went on for years until one day in March of 1995, Stephanie decided to call Stephens' home phone. Karen Stephens answered the phone. Karen was his high school sweetheart and wife. They had 2 children together.
Karen confronted David about this affair. She grabbed a gun, which went off in her mouth during this argument in their driveway. She survived and went to a hospital rehab unit where she died after an interruption in her ventilation on April 28, 1995. David and Stephanie were married on May 13, 1996.
Ooh. Well, Stephanie had landed her a rich surgeon with plenty of money to spend on her. Unfortunately, in 1999, Dr. Stephens had to give up his medical license because he was diagnosed with hepatitis C and diabetes. He suffered from many ailments from this.
On May 1st, 2001, Stephanie said she woke up and David had died in the bed next to her. He had been sick and had an insulin pump. Allegedly, Stephanie was seen removing the battery from the pump and taking it out of the room.
4 days after his death, Stephanie inquired about his death certificate. She was surprised to find out that officials were waiting on results from his blood test. But 3 weeks later, his blood work from his autopsy showed a considerable amount of the anesthetic etomidate. Was in his system. She told police that he was suicidal and wanted to die. Shortly after this, she went to Las Vegas and married a handyman named Chris Watt.
In July 2002, autopsy results showed that atracurium, a drug used to paralyze muscles during surgery, was also in the doctor's system. Investigators claimed that a nurse could easily get their hands on this drug in the hospital. When police asked Stephanie about it, she said she was unaware of that drug, but they found it hard to believe that she had never heard of this drug. On September 12th, her birthday, Stephanie was arrested and charged with David's murder.
Well, that's one heck of a birthday present.
Yep, that's what she gets.
Mm-hmm. Her 2003 trial was one of the most sensational events in Forest County. It was widely covered by the media that the jury had to be brought in from DeSoto County in North Mississippi down to Hattiesburg. This is about 248 miles or roughly 4.5 hours from Hattiesburg.
Some of the facts that were entered into the trial as evidence was that David's illnesses had rendered him unable to work. He began to draw disability benefits from his policy with UNUM Insurance Company. David requested that the Hattiesburg Clinic allow him to continue to practice medicine by reading diagnostic studies, but was turned down by the clinic's head of directors for the full-time position, but instead was only given a part-time position, which made his monthly income drop from $50,000 to $6,000.
Dang, that sounds like whenever Daddy got laid off from offshore and all.
Yes.
He took that, what was it, $100,000 paycheck cut?
Yes.
Yeah.
$100,000.
Sorry, can't English. Anyway, in 2001, Stephanie's health began to deteriorate. She had severe complications from Crohn's disease intestinal disorder. Jesus, I cannot English today. and a broken hip, which limited her mobility. These conditions rendered Stephanie unable to work. With both of them unable to maintain employment, the couple hired a nanny to care for Stephanie's two young children, as well as a medical professional to look after them.
By this time, David was placed on an organ transplant list at the Ochsner Hospital. He also had to be put on an insulin pump 24 hours a day, which would automatically inject a regulated amount of insulin into his abdomen at regular intervals.
On May 1st, the day David died, neither Dr. Rogers nor Butch Benedict, the Forest County coroner, saw any indication of foul play other than the possibility that the insulin pump had malfunctioned. The coroner drew 2 vials of blood from David and sent it to the Mississippi Crime Laboratory for analysis.
After receiving the lab report, a full investigation was launched. On June 1st, 2001, Officer Rusty Keys of Hattiesburg Police Department, along with Benedict, visited Stephanie with the lab results. On June 25th, Keys and Benedict received orders from Forest County Circuit Judge Dickie McKenzie to have David's body exhumed for an autopsy. Dr. Stephen Hain revealed that the cause of death was the lutein overdose and also emetic toxicity.
MetLife sent out a standard form letter regarding participants' renegotiations of payout dates to all participants in the maximum deferred compensation program. After failing to receive correspondence from David, MetLife resent the form to his residence on June 1st, 2001. On June 14th, MetLife received the form purportedly signed by David and dated April 30th, 2001.
During her trial, prosecutors argued that she killed her husband. Defense attorney Ray Price tried to convince the jury that David had killed himself.
David's daughter took the stand and told the court that he was not suicidal kind of guy, and she wouldn't believe it no matter the evidence. Dr. Stephens' estate was estimated at about $3 million.
After a week of testimony, it only took the jury 90 minutes to convict Stephanie of murder. She was sentenced to life in prison.
After serving 30 years of her sentence, she would have been eligible to petition for parole, but she died of double pneumonia on October 14, 2006, at the Central Mississippi Hospital.
She had been taken to the hospital that day from the Mississippi Correctional Facility in Pearl. She had only served 3 years of her sentence. We'd like to thank Keys and Benedict for their vigilance. Without them, she could have actually gotten away with murder.
Stay safe and vigilant.
Watch out for assholes and weirdos.
If you like the video, then give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications bell beside. If you have a case you'd like us to talk about, then leave a comment down below. Bye!